Hello, Terry. Hello, Zara. Thank you for joining my tour. This is my second tour today. I don't want to cause any inconvenience to people around me. Therefore, I put on my mask. You know, China is in a critical condition now after almost 3 years since the pandemic broke out in early 2020. It seems it just has just started again. All right, let me show you the view around me here. This is the main river that runs across this village. I'm in Anhui province in southeastern China. Before I came here, I already had my dinner. I had an early dinner. I usually have 2 meals a day. This morning we had breakfast at about 7:50, before 8 o'clock. And now, just now, I had another meal, the second meal. We had basically beef soup. We made the soup with beef and a bunch of vegetables like the turnip and local cabbage and tofu and some mushrooms. We ate it with a small bowl of rice for our dinner. You can see there, the river now needs water, just like people now need it too. I mean, the drought problem has been always with people here this year since summer. And today we got to know a lot of people in the village where I live actually are again in shortage of the running water from the tap. Temperature is very low at night. So some families, they actually keep the water running over the night. This is just out of a very practical reason. They don't want to see the frozen water in the pipe. Therefore, they cannot use water in the morning when they want to. And this is the first reason. Well, the second reason is it's free here. Water is the only free utility item here in this village, in this area. They don't have to pay for water because their water actually is from the mountains. Natural water from the mountains. They don't have to pay for it. Let me show you some pictures I prepared for this tour. I just now posted one, but I cannot really see the image. I only see a blank blotch. I guess it may take a few seconds or maybe 1 minute for me to see the picture, and then I can explain from there. This morning, I said in the end of the tour that this area sees snow, and the snow can be as thick as 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters occasionally. And that is the information I want to correct now. That situation, 20 to 30 centimeters, is actually the occasion you get in Beijing, in further northern region of China, not in this area. This area last year, and actually they saw a pretty heavy snow, and that was about 5 centimeters thick. And I remember back in Shanghai, because I'm from Shanghai, I just moved here with my wife, who is originally from this village half a year ago. And in Shanghai, I remember in the year 2008, there was very heavy snow. And Shanghai then probably saw maybe the snow as thick as 5 centimeters. And here, I believe in winter, the snow is actually heavier than that in Shanghai. So I think occasionally they can get to maybe 10 centimeters once every 10 years or 20 years, I'm not sure. Yeah, but not 20 centimeters, I don't think so. Sometimes, you know what, when you keep talking, you are not able to identify so specifically what you are talking about. So I will try to be specific and accurate, and if not, I will come back to correct. All right. The road cobbles are laid in beautiful pattern. Yes, I'm in a garden, you can say. There is no wall. It's not a walled garden. Here, I call this place the watering hole of a sub-village that I'm going to take you to see next. Local people call this kind of location, literally in Chinese, water mouth. I think mouth here refers to the location of it. It means it's located at the entrance to a sub-village. And they also consider this location very important and very spiritual. And it's like the watering hole. And here you can see maybe why people actually attach importance to this location, as there is a big gutter, and to drain the water for this sub-village. It's actually low-lying location here. When there's a heavy rainfall, especially in summer, the village gets flooded, and they need this big gutter to drain the water here. And there you can see it's connected to the river that I showed you at the beginning of the tour. Yeah. And also you see some big trees. Guess how old this tree is? This is a camphor tree. This is also why people think this location is important. And there is the other. There are two trees. They form a romantic relationship here. You can see their foliage are intertwined. Still leafy. For this kind of tree, there's no winter. There are always leaves. The Chinese camphor tree. And the people here call these two trees the dragon and the phoenix trees. I remember after I met my wife, the first time she took me to see her village here, she actually showed me these two trees. Yeah, I have very deep impression over these two trees. Now you can see how big they are, and they are here. They have been here for 800 years, according to the local accounts. 800 years, 800-year-old dragon and phoenix trees in the watering hole location. All right. Yeah, very beautifully paved. That's very true. All the cobbles. Something typical you see in a Chinese garden. Yeah, one of the important features for you to appreciate the Chinese garden. A lot of landscapes and the trees, maybe part of the landscape, and also some pavilions, and also the pavements with made of pebbles. today is not an extremely cold day. It's not as cold as it was yesterday and 2 days ago and 3 days ago. It's a quite comfortable winter day today. I would say, yeah, but we expected to see the drop of the temperature tomorrow again, and the lowest temperature in 2 days will be minus 6 degrees. That's very cold. All right, let's have a look at this mural painting here, created by the local artisans. Black and white painting on the wall. Typical Chinese fine arts. Very compatible with the actual buildings here in black and white. Anhui School of Chinese Architecture. Whitewashed wall and the black tiled roof. And this painting here depicts one prosperous moment of this village area once in history in Qing Dynasty, the last dynasty of China. A lot of boats, ships came here with goods to trade. And this area nowadays is still good for its Chinese tea, Huangshan green tea. Of course, nowadays industries are more versatile, and Anhui is still one of the important industrialized provinces in China, but you have to differentiate northern Anhui and southern Anhui province. I mean southern Anhui province, less industrialized, more natural landscapes, more cultural heritages. There were some industries, but not heavy industries, light industries, service industries, like tourism. Heavy industries are located in northern Anhui province. And you can see people, because it's not too cold, there are people hanging out here. They just sit here in an open space. I mean, the picture in a city now in China is very, very different. Everybody wears a mask and people are basically in a panic. The pandemic, since the government relaxed the restrictions, let's say a dozen days ago, the COVID cases or the Omicron cases have just spread like a wildfire, and people have come down like flies. No exaggeration. You can take my words literally. And every day, every new day, we have heard people around us on social media or in our conversations with people. 我那里 All right. Just now, somebody didn't like what I'm doing, probably because I'm speaking English. I'm not sure if you actually realized I was challenged by two men sitting outdoor there. And one man, when I was actually quite far from him, and I didn't actually film in his way, he started to challenge me. He said, "What are you filming for? Stop filming. Film for what?" And right after that, another man chimed in. So you can see it's not easy. This is not the first time for me to be challenged on my film on my tour filming. All right. I didn't actually train my camera on them, but they just got very nervous and also very hyped. For that, I would say that there is actually a very tangible wave of patriotism or nationalism against anything that is foreign. Ah, all right. Let me put myself together and go ahead with the filming. This is the facade of an old ancestral temple. This one is not in service, as you can tell. I'm going to show you another one that appears in the cover image of this tour. And you can see a quote of Chairman Mao painted here on the left in black. There's a mess here. Probably some family is in a reconstruction of their old building, and they just discarded all those old stuff out here. There are some alleyways. Wow, think about it. I'm actually in this tiny village with just hundreds of people living here. And last time when I filmed my tour in a bigger town, someone got really very angry at me just because I was filming there and speaking English. I think this is actually one of very important reasons you cannot neglect. All right, let me take a path here with, I suppose, less people. Oh, there are dogs. 2 dogs. What are they doing? They're looking at me. I'm not very experienced with dogs. I have never raised a dog. And actually, I don't know how to deal with a dog. Hopefully, it's going to be all right. There are a lot of unleashed dogs. I've never seen one leashed dog here in rural China. However, I have never been so far physically harmed by any dog, fortunately. All right. Oh, another dog is barking. So look, here is the alleyway. There's a tablet with the Chinese character writing on it. What does it say? 行善变家. It means being benevolent or doing good deeds is good. All right. The dog doesn't want to be filmed either. Yes, Terry. All right, let me step up. Wow, this house, have a look. This is the typical local adobe kitchen range. The stove. Chinese migrant workers, they are usually from this kind of a village across China. And a lot of old houses are not taken care of anymore, as a lot of migrant workers have now moved and settled in other bigger towns and cities with industries. They may do business or they do a job in those places. This dog might belong to the belligerent man, two of a kind. All right, Barry, good to see you again. Look, there is something old here on the left side. This used to be a tea shop, a tea house. Yeah, you can ideate how in old days people sat here by the balcony, drinking tea there, with the callboys in the tea house serving all the guests inside. People were talking, drinking, eating snacks. But this one now is an exhibition hall, and it's not open right now. Last time I entered the house, as I was led by a local, and we saw an old man who actually now owned this house give a calligraphy lesson to a girl, who later we realized actually is now the classmates of my sons. My son now goes to the local school here, and he's in the 3rd grade. Calligraphy, Chinese character writing, is a traditional art. This used to be another ancestral hall. In this village area, in history, there have been 3 clans. So if you have a look at the name list of all the local residents here, you will see there are 3 common last names here. And each last name belongs to a clan that moved here at different times in history. But as I know, the earliest clans here moved back 400 and 300 years ago, or 500 years ago, in Ming Dynasty. Water is important in Chinese feng shui, and here, in the layout of this ancestral hall, there's a place for water. And traditionally, people consider water as the element for wealth, which is very natural because, look, I showed you the picture or the painting on the wall, how people applied their trades in this area in old days, and how the goods were how were those goods transported outside through all those canal waterways. Let's have a glimpse inside. All right, let me see if I can push the door in. Oh. All right, I don't want to try too hard. You know what, last time, one of our neighbors who is a 70-year-old carpenter told me that an ancestral hall in the village where we live has some structures that were about to fall. And he reminded us of not pushing just in case of any accidents. So in this case, I don't want to try too hard. Don't want to get into any trouble. This place was once a school. And now here, those signs still suggest it is like a school now here, but I never saw it open. And they told me the school already was moved from here, someone else. And this is not really a school. It's not an actual school. All right, let me move from here to another ancestral hall. And usually it is that one I actually could push the door in. And maybe I would go over there to show you the interior of an ancestral temple. A lot of rocks. People here use rocks as the foundation for the buildings. There's a grocery store. These are the online shopping parcels. And I was told this morning that actually a lot of delivery service have stopped serving because of the COVID occasion. And it's almost like 8 or 9, according to some people's accounts, out of every 10 couriers have contracted the COVID cases. I'm not sure if 8 or 9 out of 10 is to what degree is exaggeration, but personally, I can tell that a lot of people, especially those people who live in cities, you cannot get rid of it. You cannot evade getting the pandemic because people in the city are too interconnected with each other, and you have to buy food in a shop. You have to handle a delivered parcel if you do not go to a shop to buy anything. There are just people all around you. Once you open the door in your neighborhood, there are just 1,000, 2,000 people in a normal small neighborhood. Usually those neighborhoods are so large that you can get maybe up to, in Shanghai, the largest single neighborhood has about 20,000 people. 20,000 people in one of the largest neighborhoods in Shanghai. This is another mural painting, and this one shows how merchants and officials interacted in a guild or in the mansion of a prominent figure, usually either an official or a merchant. Well, in Chinese history, usually in at least the Qing dynasty, a merchant was usually also the handler of an official. There's always the interconnection between business and the political power in Chinese culture. Very typical. I don't think it has ever changed. You can see here, Qing dynasty people, men, they wore a ponytail. And this old man obviously enjoys the prestige in this occasion. Yeah, in Qing dynasty, men, usually the Han nationals, because in Qing dynasty, Han nationals, which are the present day, the major ethnic group in Qing dynasty, they were ruled by an ethnic minority, the present day Manchurians. They're Manchurians, the present day, a different ethnic group in a different name, So then, every man wore a ponytail, and every woman, almost every woman, got their feet bound. That is Qing dynasty stereotype. All right, let's switch to the other side. There is something exquisite here, and this one looks very history-laden. And there are two characters you can see inscribed on the stone tablet. And these two characters stand for Imperial Edict. In Qing dynasty, a dragon was the exclusive symbol of an emperor. Imperial Edict, and this family enjoyed their prestige endorsed by the emperor. And here, down here, it was a door once, but now the door is gone. It's all sealed now in bricks. But we can see the writing on it of Chinese characters. This is actually a quote of Chairman Mao again. Yeah, here is a very good place for us to see what has defined China. Even today. One is the Qing dynasty influence, the dynastic China. The other is the later, after 1949, the Communist Party influence of China. Whatever you call it, socialism or communism. Yeah, and dynasty. This place looks like a small sub-watering hole for people living in this small area. All right, now we can see the red decoration, the lanterns, and one pole on each side, located in the front of this ancestral temple. What is the figure on the roof tile? Zara asked. On the roof tile ends. Okay. There, right? You may call them auspicious mythical animals of Chinese culture. But the most conspicuous ones are located at the end of the roof ridge. And here, now you can see two big ones, one on each end. And that is actually a mythical animal, but based on the features of a dragon, the most considered the most prestigious mythical animal in Chinese culture. But it's not just a dragon. It's a created animal with the features of different animals. It also has a fish tail. Well, the reason they like to put the fish element in traditional Chinese houses is because Chinese houses are traditional houses are brick and wood structure, a lot of wood, timber, and therefore it is very susceptible to the damage of a fire. And people put those fish elements in the structure of the building to spiritually wish that their buildings can be protected, as fish is something from water, and water is against the fire. This is the kind of idea behind. And also people traditionally are also very particular in the number of those mythical animals decorated on the roof. For instance, nobody could have 9 animals on the roof or other decorations in a string of 9 for a unit, because 9 in old days was the exclusive symbol of an emperor. This is actually a public breathing space for the local people. There's some space here. People can gather. Susanna Melbourne. Chi Wen? Oh, yeah. That's right. This is the Chinese name, the pronunciation of the Chinese name. Chi Wen. That's right. Chi Wen refers to those mythical animals as decoration on the roof. I like dragons, but can't spell Chinese. Are dragons mythical creatures? Definitely, Apana. Have you ever seen a dragon? Of course, there's Chinese dragon that is different from a Harry Potter dragon. Chinese dragon, even in Chinese dragon, there are still different interpretations. Like we have Chinese dragons that fly in the sky, Chinese dragons that swim in water. Yeah, but basically, dragon is the symbol for power. And beside this ancestral hall, you can see this building with a red star decoration. This is very Soviet. And they inscribed the Chinese characters in the line says, "March along the victorious revolutionary route set by Chairman Mao." Qing Dynasty style structure with the Mao era elements all fused into one. All right. The main plaque hanging here outside says number 1 family of nobility. This is probably the largest, the most prominent clan in this village among the 3 ones I mentioned. Because you see, the ancestral temple is the most majestic. And let's see if we can get in. Oh, out of luck, it's locked. Usually it's open. Probably these days, people, they don't want to open it. They don't want to see tourists going in and out and around, as they are very nervous about the pandemic, maybe. And sometimes it's also maybe just a random, because usually I know that here, the local office hires someone who lives next door in this area, beside this heritage, and that person will have a look. I mean, will take care of this temple, and that is also the person who is in charge of the key of this lock. And sometimes maybe they just finish their day earlier. Something random, if you really want, you can go and find him or her to ask him or her to open for you, but we don't have to do that today. I don't think so. I don't speak the local dialect. I have seen Komodo dragons in a video. Is it in Philippines or Indonesia? Too many dragons. I'm actually personally not very interested in those mythical things. So, Apana, I'm not in a position to tell much about it. I prefer something realistic and more life-oriented and humane. All right. You can see the exterior of the building has been impaired by the mold. Left tip. Oh, Komodo Apana. Komodo lizard, right? I think we Chinese people translated this literally as a Komodo lizard, or maybe a dragon. Yeah, a lizard is a kind of a dragon. Yeah, I can understand that. Komodo lizard is a huge one and a dangerous one. The saliva of a Komodo dragon is poisonous, as I know. It's huge. Chinese New Year is around the corner in exactly 1 month's time. But people have heated discussion about whether they are going to or they should go back to their home village to get a family reunion. Is it worth it? I mean, this year. For children, their current semester is over. Well, for people in this village, there are different sub-villages in this area. And for this entire village area, last week, in the middle of the last week, we firstly got to know that the party secretary of this village, a lady who is also the number 1 person in this village, She was the first one, as we know, who got the COVID disease. And we got to know that she got it after she came back from a banquet. What is the name of your village? Zara, the name of my village is Changxi village. It belongs to Huangshan City. Huangshan City, and Huangshan is the name of the famous Yellow Mountain in this area, the #1 tourist destination. Not sure if anybody now watching this tour has ever been to Huangshan Mountain, the Yellow Mountain. It's a UNESCO heritage and also a geopark recognized by the UNESCO. There's a stage. This is a public space. Thank you, Sheila, Tessa, and Alison for following my tours. Yeah, actually, tours on China are kind of one of the best cases you can get for social science study. It's still a very mysterious society even today in the globalized world. Internet is so accessible to everybody, but actually it still runs on its own mode, very unknown by people outside, even very unknown by people here, to be honest. All right. You can see the signature style of Anhui school architectures. And one of them is this horse head gable. This is what local people call it, horse head gable. It's similar to the Dutch stair-step gable. And there's a function for it. That is to stop fire from spreading in an accident. This boy, I saw him once every while when I was in this village. Sometimes even in school time, I also saw him. Look, that boy in blue. There are many left behind children in the village of China. And last time I interviewed, we had a tour to see how the boy lived here with his grandmother. Two lived together here in this village. And of course, there was something very miserable that happened to these two people. Because, I think when a young boy and girl is taken care of by a senior old generation person, definitely there are a lot of problems. So in China, this is called a left behind child. It actually reminds me of another concept that you can get to see in a city. That is a left over women. Yeah. In Chinese cities, for instance, Shanghai, where I come from, there's a concept of a left over women. And actually, a left over woman refers to a woman who is above 30 years old. And the thing about this kind of woman is that in China, there's a bias against this kind of a woman, just simply because they are above 30. For that, they are not attractive anymore. Spinster, yeah, but it has nothing really to do with age, and let alone it's just 30 years old. All right. And also, I maybe this morning I talked about the two different identities Chinese people have here. One identity is a farmer. Like people here, they're all farmers. This is their identity. Something written on their household registration book. And the other identity is what you get in those citizens in the cities in China. And those people are citizens. All right. So there's also another bias in Chinese society between these two. Like in my case, I'm from Shanghai originally, and my wife is from this village originally. So when we met and started to, develop a relationship, there was a resistance that only I could tell. Simply because my wife, she was from a village. She was in the identity of a farmer. And also because her family then was really poor, and her father actually was a sick man in bed. For all those things, I just met unexpected, expected, but unprecedented resistance. A lot of. All right, now I'm back to this alleyway. Hopefully, let me keep walking around and show you something more here. Again, beautiful pavement. People work really hard. In China, traditionally we have the Chinese silk, porcelain, Chinese tea, a lot of beautiful artifacts from China. People work really hard here. All right, let me go to the grocery shop that you saw earlier. I know the couple who runs the shop. Let me maybe have a chat with them if they want, if they don't mind. Thank you, Susanna. Itinerant. Terry, is it a coin word? A new coin word? Itinerant. All right. Guess what this is? Who is able to tell? More? Zara? Close. Close, but no cigar. All right. It's apart from an animal, pork, pig. This is the skin of a pig. Pork skin. Dehydrated the pork skin. Barry, it's pork skin. Dehydrated the pork skin. Rind. Wow. 怎么了？啊？哦，有个快递啊。哦，没事，你跟我讲。我还以为那个。好的。 没收到短信吗？哦。The lady told me I have a parcel, so I will claim my parcel and. But they did told me that the delivery service has stopped working. Maybe today is their last day to handle the parcels. Or maybe that parcel was sent a few days earlier, and since it was already here, they just allowed it to come. Hairs. Longum. It is the season for people to enjoy citrus fruits. And here you can see some vegetables, and let's see what are here. Lotus root, bamboo shoot. It's a kind of mushroom. Bean sprouts. Water bamboo. Black fungus. Here's the pork skin again. This is a stinky tofu. Stinky tofu is very popular with people here. And they even have the moldy tofu. It's another form of a fermented tofu.现在歙县不昌西这边还好没有是吧？有人吗？有。就那个书记，还有谁呢？好多了已经。现在昌西已经好几例了。哦哟。这快递啊。好的。就几日了，我哥，几日时间了。All right. They gave me the parcel. I'd better keep moving, not staying here too long, because it can cause mutual panic. 好，谢谢啊。All right. Before we finish, let me show you another heritage here. After this grocery store, for this sub-village, there are two grocery stores. This is the second one. The two stores are located very close to each other. This is it. I have shown this temple a couple of times on this tour. There is the equivalent temple of this kind in Shanghai. If you have been to Shanghai, I'm sure you have been to the City God Temple or the Yuyuan Garden. Actually, the two different names refer to the same area, City God Temple or Yuyuan Garden. There's a famous bazaar and traditional Chinese buildings and famous tea house and some restaurants, and people go there to eat xiaolongbao dumplings. Yeah, and the City God Temple of Shanghai is the closest analogy to this temple here in this village. And this kind of temple is a very down-to-earth temple in China. There's always one in any village, in any administrative small division in China. And this kind of temple is called the Patron Saint Temple. And here in this case, it is the temple that was built to enshrine a real man, according to the local accounts, who lived in the history of this village. But later that figure was consecrated as a god. And now behind, in the building, you can see the statues representing the god and some godlings around. And let's have a look at the Chinese character writing on the plaque here. Here is the major one. It's quite dark and there's no sunshine anymore. So, but anyway, these are Chinese characters. I don't think you can really read that all that well. And there are 3 characters you can tell. 3 big Chinese characters, and you read from right to left as the traditional way. And the last character, which is on the left, means temple. Therefore, it doesn't really have a meaning, while the other 2 characters mean respectively ardent loyalty. This is the temple of ardent loyalty. In nature, it is the place to enshrine the city god, and in this case, the village god of this area. But the story of this man actually has something to do with loyalty. Let's go over there to have a look. How come? And what's the connection here? This is a complete introduction to this temple in Chinese. But let me help you get some important information here. And here you can see some numbers. And before numbers, there are 2 Chinese characters. These 2 characters are the name of this god here, or the real name, a real person, okay, originally. And he lived a long time ago. Look, 586 and 649. That in China history, that period in China history is in the end of Sui dynasty and before Tang dynasty. And that man called Wang Hua, in the end of the Sui dynasty, he led some successful rebellions, and eventually he became a local power. Yeah, popular with local people and worshipped by a lot of local folks. But the problem is when the following dynasty, Tang dynasty, took power and stabilized after a little while, there was a problem for this man. As more and more doubt was cast on him for his influence in this area. And that guy, Wang Hua, actually had 9 sons. And you can also tell from that why they made the central court so upset. 9 sons. That guy had 9 sons. So eventually, after some rounds of questioning, eventually this man decided to do this thing. He killed 8 out of his 9 sons to show allegiance to the central court of Tang dynasty. And the people, according to the accounts, all right, the official accounts, people were very moved by this deed because that man showed the ardent allegiance to the emperor. Therefore, also made contribution to the stability of the nation or of the country, whatever. And they built this temple, probably also endorsed and encouraged by the government, by the emperor. They built this temple to honor this quote unquote accomplishment. This is the temple of ardent allegiance. Oh, thank you very much for Michael, Zara, and Alison. And again, we can see the horsehead gable. Don't forget, this is one of the hallmarks of Anhui style of architectures of China. And I mentioned that man, he submitted his allegiance to the Tang government. Well, before I finish this tour, just let you know that actually Tang dynasty is considered by a lot of Chinese people as the most prosperous period in China's history. And actually so proud that people actually make a connection between Chinatown in all different countries outside China with Tang dynasty. And there's a link between these two things, that is the pronunciation. You know, in Chinese traditional culture, there are a lot of significances that stem from simply the pronunciation, the similarity of pronunciation. For instance, bat is the symbol of luck in Chinese culture because bat sounds like the character that means luck or fortune. But anyway, fortune in Chinese culture is a more encompassing concept, more than just the money and luck. It can be longevity, happiness, bunch of things. Well, here, Chinatown is translated into Chinese as Tang Renjie. Well, that town in English actually means a place, right? Town is a place. But in a Chinese name, the Tang, which reads the same, refers to Tang dynasty, that dynasty. All right, so Chinatown translated into Chinese actually means the streets of Tang people or Tang offsprings. In this case, Chinese people consider them as the offsprings of a Tang dynasty. All right? I hope I made it clear enough for you to understand. And also, don't miss that behind this temple, there are two old trees. Again, 800, sorry, not two trees, just one tree. This is another 800-year-old tree, ginkgo. And now, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, there were still leaves, yellow, beautiful leaves, but now all gone. We're getting into the depth of winter. Tomorrow is the winter solstice. And we're going to get the shortest day here in Northern Hemisphere. All right. So guys, thank you very much for watching this tour. And now I'm taking off my glove so just to say goodbye to you. There's something wrong with the gimbal. I try to, all right, let you see me. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. 谢谢. Oh yeah, Sarah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you everyone for your participation and also for your different forms of encouragement and support. Now I'm having a little problem with controlling this gimbal, but anyway, have a good day ahead and see you next time. 谢谢，再见，bye for now.